Welcome back to the Doorkickers player channel. This is Mission 65 Skypub. Now, this is the breakdown video. If you want to see just the replays, go ahead and check that playlist out on my page. Now, for the breakdown, we're going to watch the replay just to familiarize yourself with what's going on in the mission. This is an escort VIP mission. And then after we watch the replay, we're going to watch a quick little montage on 100x speed of all of my attempts of this mission. And then we're going to go through the successful attempt on 0.75 speed and break it down, talk about everything that's going on, what mistakes were made, etc. Enough said, let's watch the replay.
Let's do this.
Help!
They're here. Moving.
Help!
Take him down. Straight down. No contact. On your mark. Up. Straight down. Take him down.
Thank you.
Covering. Waiting for Alpha.
Alpha, go.
Flash out. Moving. Take him down. Tango on your mark. On target. Clear. Covering. No tangos.
VIP is now secure. Good job. We're done here.
All right, now as you can see, we had a successful mission, but not all tangos were taken out. We'll talk about that in the breakdown. Let's go ahead and watch the quick montage first. All right, so as you can see, this mission took a little bit to do. I think it took me just over 45 minutes. So it was a little difficult. And the reason it was a little difficult was because there are just a lot of tangos. There are 20 tangos for this small map and just 4 operators. And you have to make sure that none of the civilians get killed and that the VIP doesn't get killed either. And that's pretty difficult. It was so difficult, in fact, that I thought, you know what, why not watch a video on YouTube and see if anyone else has successfully done this mission? And they have, but they did it in a way that you take out all the tangos and rescue the VIP. Now, me, I like to focus on mission objective. That's just my style. So I decided to go another route. I decided to rescue the VIP and forget about the tangos as much as possible. The problem I kept running into was that there were just so many tangos. So in the end, I came up with this route, which focuses on keeping the operators on the alpha side of the map. And while they're on the alpha side, essentially it kind of follows this concept. If you're in a hallway, right, there's only, if you're in the middle of a hallway, there's only 2 directions you need to cover, front and back, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. But if you're in a room, then if you're in the middle of a room, you need to cover 12, 3, 6, and 9, right? So I sort of was like, okay, let's stay in that corridor or hallway, and then we only really have to cover 12 and 6, right? Which is in the end what happened, is I was able to focus on covering the front and the back, and I only needed 1 operator to cover the Bravo side and 2 operators to cover the Delta side, while 1 operator goes and grabs the VIP and starts bringing them out. Additionally, in this map, tangos are attracted to noise. So when you're shooting tangos that are not in the room with the VIP, the tangos don't enter the room with the VIP or don't open that door, which then reduces the amount of risk that the VIP will get killed in crossfire, right? So what happens in this mission is that I take the operators, I bring them down to the Alpha corridor. I'm just going to call it a corridor because it's not really a hallway, or it might be a hallway. I'm not exactly sure. Either way, I bring them down to the Alpha side of the map, and they do that silently. So no shooting any tangos, no attracting any tangos. Once they're in the Alpha side, that's when the tangos start coming out. But by then, you only need one or two tangos to cover each side. So while I'm walking through the Alpha corridor, I can have two tangos covering Delta. I'm sorry, two operators covering Delta, and two operators covering Bravo and Charlie. And there's nothing on the Alpha side, so don't need to cover that at all. And as they keep moving, they're clearing as much as they can, and then the operators stop right in front of the room. And when they do that, one operator is able to take out all the tangos that are on the Alpha Bravo corner. And it just works really well. So let's go ahead and start the breakdown.
Let's do this.
Now, this is on 0.75 speed, so just be aware that this is going a little slower than it did in real time. But as you can see, no engagement until they enter the Alpha corridor. And by this time, you only need to cover two angles, and it's fairly easy to do so. As you can see, I've got operators 1-1 and 1-2 covering the Bravo and Charlie side, while I've got operators 1-3 and 1-4 covering the Delta Charlie side, or just the Delta side. As you can see, I'm just trying to get all of the operators in the right position so that they can move into formation and they can actually deal with any threats. Now, I'm actually noticing that I only have one operator covering the Delta side at this point, which is honestly, it's pretty. It's this is the best case scenario. We only need one operator to cover any specific direction. As you can see, the operator that was covering the Bravo Charlie side did a phenomenal job at covering it. And now we're just going to, we just drew a map for the VIP, so the VIP is going to move.
In position.
And we're just letting that operator hang in that room just for a second so that he can deal with any tangos that might enter the room after the VIP starts moving.
Okay. Affirmative.
And now we're just trying to draw the map for him, which is proving a little difficult. My iPad is a little glitchy, so drawing these maps sometimes becomes a little tedious.
Looks clear.
As you can see, I'm just moving super slowly. And even though there are tangos that are entering the Bravo Charlie room, the Alpha Bravo corner room, it doesn't matter because we've got enough operators covering that direction and they can deal with any threats that come along. And at the same time, we've already got the VIP cleared of that room and on the move. So we're not super worried about it. And now we're going to draw the routes for the operators to move into formation.
Affirmative.
And we're just going to cover the Bravo and Delta side because any threats that come along will be dealt with pretty quickly. And you can see I'm having them flow. Well, I'm having one operator throw a flashbang, and then I'm having another operator, but then I'm having one operator throw a flashbang, but then they're gonna flow into that main entrance room, and by doing so, they'll start dealing with any threats that are in that main entrance, which there are, as we know now, after watching the replay. And then in the meantime, we're just going to have the two operators that are covering the Bravo Charlie side. We're just drawing the route for them to continue covering Bravo and Charlie, or well, mainly covering Bravo, but also being able to deal with any threats that are on the Bravo Charlie area. As you can see, the iPad's a little glitchy, which is making it a little bit tedious, but I'm getting it done. And the logic here is like fairly simple. It's not taking, you know, it's not too complicated. You don't have to be a tactical genius to figure it out. It's very simple. Just move in a formation, cover both sides, and stay close. That's all this is. And even though there are some parts, as you can see now, that we're not directly covering, everything is still pretty much being covered, and we're not worried about any threats. Now, I did forget that when you throw a flashbang, you kind of have to wait for the flashbang to go. So I did have to stop that operator, but it worked out. And as you can see, throwing a flashbang really was effective because this is where a lot of my operators got killed. So having that option to throw a flashbang first and disorient the tangos that are there really made a big difference because now it only takes one operator to take out the tangos, even though we already have two operators in the room. So in this situation, if that tango hadn't been disoriented, he probably would have killed one of my operators. So throwing that flashbang in really made a big difference. Now I've got the operators' routes planned out just until that position because we don't need to cover more than that. And also having them face in a specific position at that point would make them not deal with any threats that might be coming from a different direction. So, like, for example, if someone opens the door that the blue operator is next to, if I had him facing a specific way, that blue operator would not deal with that threat. Now,
VIP is now safe.
I could have
Redundant.
repositioned them at the end to have a more tactically sound covering position. Like, for example, I could have had the two operators that were covering the Delta side. I could have had those two have like a T line of sight, like an X line of sight, where they're both standing outside of the fatal funnel, one on the Bravo side of that room and the other one on the Charlie side of that room. And they would each deal with threats that were near to each other, which is something that I've seen done before and is something that I know would be more tactically sound, but it was just unnecessary because the mission was about to end. So I didn't really feel the need to go the extra mile. And this did take me a while, and I was already pretty tired and frustrated. So I just decided, you know what, let me just get this mission over with. But overall, I'm happy with the mission. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more of these kinds of videos, make sure you subscribe. If there's anything that you guys want to see or hear about in these videos, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see y'all in the next video.